Have you ever felt like you're consistently running, but you're not running in the direction that you feel like you should be running into? Perhaps it's the pace that you're going at the moment and it needs to be reevaluated. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about working at your own pace in this chapter of your life. So, as always, y'all, let's go ahead and get right into it. I remember a time in my career where I was trying to keep up with others. I looked at where they were and in a way, I idolized it a bit because it was where I wanted to be. But ultimately, it led to a few other symptoms that I was not a fan of. And furthermore, we do the same thing when it comes to our social media. We look at someone's 30 or 10-second highlight reel, and the first thing we think is, man, I really wish I can do that. Man, I wish I can go on their vacation. I wish I can lose that weight. We have no idea what they've had to implement to even get to where they are at that very moment. We may have a clue, they may have showcased it, but we really don't know the actual grunt work that they had to go through to make that result happen. And this is why it's so important to figure out and work at the pace that you are at. Because finding your pace identifies how you naturally function at your best without any pressure or trying to keep up with anybody else. Just the pace that you function best at. You see, societal systems will make us think that it's a one-size-fits-all, which is beyond incorrect. And to be fair, we've been taught that when it comes towards from the moment we were in school. They take one curriculum and they teach all of us the one way. Now, granted, I understand it's systems. You can't also cater to everyone, especially if you have 30 kids in a classroom. It's kind of hard to do that. But as adults, it's up to us to now take that format, kind of toss out the window a little bit, get to know who we are and what pace that we need to function at our best at and work best at. You can start by asking yourself some questions in terms of reflection. When do you feel most energized? Are you a fast starter or do you need some time to warm up a bit? And consider that your pace will change as you go through life, as you get older. We're not always going to be at the same pace that we are when we maybe were in our 20s. We're not going to be the same pace we are in our 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s and so on. Because every season in our life is different. So we just have to get to know what pace we function best at in that season. There is consequences when it comes towards not honoring your own pace. And one of them can be burnout. Trying to keep up with somebody else's pace can easily cause burnout. You'll start feeling as if you're not really doing enough. And that can lead to loss of passion towards what you're trying to pursue. Going back to social media, you may see someone go viral perhaps in a year, but you've been working on it for almost 5 years. You got to remember something. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Growth is a marathon. It's never been a sprint. You could see someone that has lost 50 pounds in a year and it's maybe taking you a little bit longer. Again, this is a marathon, not a sprint. For example, I have test anxiety and I was diagnosed with that when I was in school. And I would get extra time on tests and exams in high school and post-secondary as well. Found that other students around me that were moving a lot faster and handing in their paper made me feel like I was inadequate. But over time, I realized that I was working within my own pace and there was absolutely nothing wrong with that. So in those moments when you feel like maybe others are going faster than you in the season that they're at and you are in, just remember that what matters the most right now is that you're honoring yourself and your pace. Even in my coaching practice, I found that every client has a unique journey. We start by exploring when they feel most productive and what environments help them thrive. So a few tips that I've used to notice my own pace, and I also help my clients notice their own pace. And you're going to hear me say this from, I probably can't say no more, is journaling. Writing out your thoughts. In your journal, you can track when you feel most productive and when you feel the most drained or a little drained. And also be mindful of when you feel rushed because that is a moment that you're pushing against your natural pace. Pay attention to how long it takes you to complete tasks when you're not distracted. And above all, please be patient with yourself. Growth is not linear. It's going to go at the flow and the path that you need to go at. And even if you're going at a bit of a slower pace compared to everybody else, who cares? You're doing it anyways. That's what matters the absolute most. So once you kind of figure out what your pace is, start structuring your day. Start structuring your habits and your routines surrounding that thought process of what your pace is at the moment. Be clear about your limits, set those boundaries, and communicate no when you need to say it. It's all about going at your natural rhythm, not the rhythm of somebody else's. Just remember this. You don't have to keep up with anyone else. Just trust you are exactly on the pace and the path of where you need to be. I would love to hear from you in the comments. What is your pace and how are you embracing it? And if you need more support, I have upcoming workshops and coaching spots available to help you find your personal rhythm. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And as always, y'all, walk with peace, walk with love.